Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about Hell's Paradise, an anime that came out in 2023, an anime that I quite enjoyed and I highly recommend that everybody gives it a chance. And as always, I have here with me Ramon,
Hey guys.
Ro,
Howdy, howdy.
and guys, right away, before we even talk about this show, Ro, you already kind of asserted to what I'm going to say, but what the hell is Killua from Hunter x Hunter doing in this anime? Like, what's going on here? Is it not plagiarism to like do what they're doing here?
Dude, like I swear it's exactly him. It's
it,
like some assassin type, super powerful dude. It's just like an older Killua.
it's exactly him. Same freaking like style, hairstyle, color, same kind of background with the family being ninjas and treating him like crap and making him strong and making him like super powerful and he's resistant to poison. And it's just like it's impossible
Same
for
emptiness.
Dude, I stopped watching Hunter x Hunter during the 80 episodes, but if you were to tell me that at some point he developed flame powers, like I would believe you. Like I would be like, "Yep, of course, Killua, and at some point got flame powers, and of course, that's why they're stealing it from like Hunter x Hunter."
Dude, you didn't see his grandpa fight or his dad.
I'm assuming they have flame powers if you're saying it like that.
Oh, they're awesome.
Oh,
So you
okay.
should
For
just
no
finish
flame
it.
powers. I didn't know who you
But
guys
yeah,
were talking about, but I just looked them up and I now see what you mean. What the
dude,
heck?
it's like they made his hair somewhat more fluffy, and that's the only difference. But enough about that. I'm sure there's
He's
other.
older.
If you guys don't know what we're talking about, just look up the very famous Hunter x Hunter anime and, look up Killua and you'll know exactly what we're referring to. And I just want to point that out because, again, it's impossible not to watch this. And if you've seen Hunter x Hunter, to be reminded right away. But guys, let's get to it. Raul, what did you think about this show, man? You're the only one that I don't know what his initial thoughts are.
I really liked it. Like I like the concept and I don't know. I thought it was really cool. It's a little different in the sense of like I don't know. I feel like every anime has their own like source of like inner power, whether it's magic, whether it's ki, whether it's chakra, whether it's whatever. And here it's Tao. Uh,
Tao.
but yeah, but like I don't know. I kind of like the idea, and it kind of seems that not everyone necessarily has powers. Like some are just really skilled. But I don't know. Samurais and ninjas, you can't go wrong with that.
No, I mean they're not completely stealing from other animes. The only reason why I'm a little bit mad is because when I was watching this, it could have been time that I could have been playing Diablo 3. Is it 3 or 4 we're playing at this point?
Four.
4. It would have been time that I could have been playing Diablo 4. So every time that I was watching this in the middle of the night, I'm like, man, I could really be playing Diablo 4 right now. But still, I really enjoyed it. Trust me, if I was not enjoying it, I would have quit that to start playing Diablo 4. But Ramon, you probably were feeling the same pressure as me.
I felt the same pressure, but I really loved Hell Paradise. Man, it became one of my favorites, and I hate saying that because I feel like everything becomes my new favorite. But I'm actually happy I haven't seen Hunter x Hunter because I could see how that would have skewed it a little bit. I actually love Gabimaru. Gabimaru is so far one of my favorite like protagonists, like one of the main characters. Absolutely, like I don't know what it is about him. Well, actually, multiple things, and I'm sure we'll talk about him in a little bit. There's so many things about him that to me feels a little bit more down to earth, even if he does feel like he's a hollow shell of a being that just slaughters and kills people because it's his duty. He loves his wife, and ultimately, obviously you see his progression throughout the season. But no, like Raul said, this anime had a lot of really beautiful things to it, and it offered it. And I think overall, one of my favorite things that this did that I haven't seen in a lot of animes is that it has a little bit more of a battle royale element to it. Because in other animes, right, like either you have like teams fighting against teams, or you have like an ultimate like goal, someone like that. But in this, it's like it's a battle royale between the criminals, right, and who's gonna get that elixir to get that pardon, and it starts that way, and then even the escorts who are supposed to be there to kind of not interact ultimately have to interact and kind of be part of it. So I don't know. The story developed way better than I thought it was. Multiple people were like, "Oh, I don't know, middle way, like it's kind of a little slowing down." I was intrigued the whole way. I loved everybody I saw. So excited to talk about this.
Yeah. No,
Dude, honestly, like I never really made the comparison, but yeah, like Battle Royale or Hunger Games, which
Yeah.
which
Oh
which
yeah.
is inspired by Battle Royale, and or like I don't know if you ever saw on No Escape with Ray Liotta back in the day, um, but yeah, like it's or gamer too even.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, like I definitely it's that concept, but obviously in anime form and pretty well done. So I like it more now that you made those
No.
references.
There you
Yeah,
go.
no,
That's what I'm
Romo.
here for.
Yeah, no, Ramon, it's probably a good thing that you yourself haven't seen a lot of anime because to me, I've seen a lot of anime similar to this, almost too similar. If I'm being honest, like I could point you out to like this
Nah.
anime called Basilisk from like 2005. That's very similar. Same kind of concept, ninjas going after certain things, fighting other ninjas. But again, this show, I think what makes it different for me, it's clearly animated in 2023. Of course, Mappa is doing it, and dude, some of the scenes in this show really elevated this show. Like, what the fuck am I watching? They almost brought back that moment in Attack on Titan when these giant monsters show up, and I'm like, okay, what fucking kind of show is this? Because these monsters, I think the one that I'm specifically shocked me was the really tall one that had like feet sticking out of her eyes. That one to me was like really, really gruesome looking. It was like a giant lady, and I think she had like feet sticking out of her eyes. But it just left me like this impact of like, holy shit, now they got to fight these like god level monsters, and obviously they weren't even the god level monsters that later on they do have to fight. But very interesting show, man. I do want to say, as far as like, did it keep me entertaining from episode 1 to episode 13? Yes, it did. At some point, I kind of did feel the weight of it a little bit, like things slowing down. But thankfully, it picked it back right up, man. So I never felt like, okay, this show completely has lost it. Because I think I mentioned that the one that kind of reminds me of right now, it's Tower of God. Tower of God started really great, and then at a certain point, things went down for me, and it did not go back up. Where this show started great, started getting a little bit like, oh, I'm getting nervous, but then it picked it right back. So I'm really happy and excited for season 2 to come up, and that's probably not going to be like till another 2 years. So I'm gonna have to wait a long, long time to get a sequel to this show.
Yeah.
dude. Honestly, like I like now that I actually finished it, like I think for me it was different because I think it like in the beginning it started slower and then kind of built up.
Mm-hmm.
And because once they actually got to the island, that's when things got like a lot more interesting. And then because you have like all these different characters and they kill a bunch of people right away, and people that you think are going to be more impactful and relevant to the story, but then like everyone's just dying all over the place, and so you get these like certain people that are going to be the ones that are left over because they I guess got used to the Tau, or they had it already, and it's like vital to be able to use it in this
No,
island.
It,
yeah, because I
is
think
this
the
an
first episodes just for me had like a mystery kind of element to it, like what's
Mhm.
going on, what is this world. So like I wouldn't say the first ones were like the slowest ones because I think I was very intrigued with like what's happening, what is the deal with this world. So like I didn't feel that role, but I could see like at some point, like yeah, like at some point something about the show is like you almost want to hate it, but it's very hard. You almost have to go out of your way purposely to find a reason to
no?
hate it. Honestly,
I was gonna say it'd definitely be haters if you're like actually like hating on the show for real because like I don't know, is there like a name for this show with like Jujutsu Kaisen and Chainsaw Man because they feel like very similar. It's in
Yeah,
that
they call it the
whole.
dark trio.
Oh, okay. So see, it feels that way. It feels like it's definitely a more gritty, more gory, like violent anime, which I love. Like that's my jam. Especially if you have people like with katanas and they're decapitating people.
oh yeah.
So no, that feels
Splatter all over the place.
yeah,
It's almost
exactly.
like Tarantino's making it.
Yeah, no, it's no, well, that's exactly. It felt like a movie, and then I think the story. So, I mean, that's a great way to kind of start it, right? Because like, who better to kind of start talking about than Gabimaru, like the main character? I loved him from initially, like from the beginning, right? Because it's kind of a like Carlos was saying, like a brief mystery. Like he's called Gabimaru the Hollow, so like he's kind of very
Badass
apathetic, like
name.
yeah, badass name, apathetic, doesn't really like care that he's killed so many people. Like he has that reputation of just being so deadly. But then very soon you kind of find out that through the fact that he's going to get executed, you slowly right away find out that he has a wife and that he was forced into that relationship by his like clan leader. So yeah, I mean he's a part of a clan, and basically because his parents wanted to run away when they had him, they killed him, and then the clan leader took him, and that whole story is just like very tragic and very much like a movie from the beginning, because here you are, this kind of lost child who was taken over by the clan leaders, using him as a weapon, right? And so much that he wants to secure him so much to stay within the clan that he marries this off to his like daughter. And
No.
it's just from there it's just kind of like that. Yeah.
Okay, there is one plot in this show that I do want to shit on, and I will leave it up to you if you want to hear it now or just way later when we're almost done with the episode. I can tell you like what I just found that was like fucking stupid about it. So you tell me, like I could start right now, or we could just start talking about the episode.
Start now so you
No.
don't forget.
Okay.
I said we wait.
Okay.
I'm kidding.
No,
I'm
no.
just being contrarian.
Well, I'll say it, man. But the one thing that like really upset me about this show, like I'm gonna, and the best way that I can explain it is like you're pitching me this show, and you're telling me like, hey, this show's about these criminals that are gonna go to an island, and their purpose is to find this one thing, and whoever comes back with it, they get to go free. And I'm like, hell yeah, like. I love the idea. How much do I write? Who do I make this $100 million check out to? And it's like, I'm already sold on the idea. But then they're like, wait, there's something else that we're going to tell you. And I'm like, wait, don't tell me no more. Like, I'm already sold. It's like, no. We're going to get these badass samurais to go with them. They're going to be their bodyguards. And the whole time they're going to be instructed not to do anything to them, not to help them, not to interfere with them. Even though those bodyguards are just as fucking amazing or even more powerful than the criminals themselves. That's the part that it's like, okay, wait, I was about to write you this check. Now all of a sudden you're bringing something very stupid. It's like, why waste your time with the criminals if you could have just sent these 12 very talented samurais from this clan to the island? They could have worked together rather than these fucking criminals just trying to like kill each other and betray each other. And it's like, why need to kill everybody? Because then they're going to interfere with me later on during the whole plan. Don't do that. Send the 12 fucking badass samurais, have them work together. Then they can fucking accomplish the goal. Because clearly when you work as a team, you do a lot more than just working by yourself. So that's the only thing that I want to shit on this show. That's just like, it makes no fucking clue why they would send those samurais with you.
But but the fact is that so they already know that everyone that goes there ends up coming back dead, and I think so. Then therefore
Why
they're
send
using
them?
well they're using the criminals as the expendables, right? They're the people
Nope.
that can go die, and I think the reason why they have the Asaemon or the Asaemon the escorts is because ultimately there needs to be some sort of like police, right? Because if you send the criminals just by themselves, they're gonna leave and do whatever they want and go like whatever. But it's like I feel like I think the key was that they told them to not interact and to kind of let them do their own. They thought it was going to be that easy. They thought they were going to be like, hey, go watch that guy, be his shadow. And if they're going to kill themselves, let them kill themselves. But other than that, like, don't be part of it. I just...
What? I think I was very disappointed where the girls, like her mentor person, the guy that had the eye patch with the red hair, we find out that, I mean, he could still be alive. I doubt it. To my knowledge, he's dead. At least that's what the show's telling us. But it's like, dude, like, I did not need him to die right away just to show that these criminals are going to betray you if you're not careful. They're so powerful that, like, some of them can clearly not defeat them one-on-one. But yeah, that was the one thing that was just kind of like my only, and again, it's like the only complaint I have. Clearly, the show is good, and I like a lot of the characters that we're going to talk about. But I just wanted to say overall that makes no fucking sense.
I mean, again, it is a stretch because it does make. I mean, that's kind of what makes it interesting because you always have to have something for them to lose, and in this case, like the winning is they get a pardon. And you're right because for the Asaemon, like the escorts, I think it's more about duty for them. Like right now, like this show takes place in like feudal Japan, right? There is the ranks. You have your like your oh my god, your court, and you have your samurai, and you have all these levels. And I feel like for them, and they said it multiple times, right? Many of these Asaemon said it that is their duty, and they'll die because it is their duty. So I think yes, maybe it's a stupid idea, but I don't think you should be upset at the plot. I think you should be upset at the feudal lords that were like, hey, you guys are all expendable, right? Because even by the end of the freaking season, you find out that they're going to send more Asaemon with more criminals. So it's like, they don't care, man. They're freaking just throwing anything in there. All they want is their freaking elixir. But I think it makes a really great, like, well, I mean, yes, aside the point. So yes, I guess into some degree, I do agree with you in that sense because like it is, but it's more on the feudal lords. They're the ones that suck.
Yeah.
Fuck you guys. But no, I like that relationship right off the back of like, you meet Sagiri, the girl, right? Like the one that is supposed to be freaking Gabimaru's like executioner, and right away from that first episode you build a relationship of like, I am supposed to kill you, and clearly we're finding out things about Gabimaru. You can die really easily. Definitely there's something holding him back from letting himself die, which she right away uncovers this kind of truth about him loving his wife. But I think if you take any relationship between the Asaemon and the criminals, like later on, is that they all have a weird dynamic, and I think that's what makes the show interesting, because you have people who are bound by responsibility, and then people who are like, I don't give a fuck, I'm killing everybody, I'm doing whatever the fuck I want. So it's cool.
No. And I'm glad that with Sagiri we did get a reason as to why she would have been able to kill, you know, the main character, Gabimaru, because I was kind of wondering. I'm like, okay, we went through the first episode, this dude cannot die whatsoever, like it's being done to him. And I looked it up, man. I tried to find out the reasons why he couldn't die, because I'm like, maybe it's something that I missed. But can any of you explain to me? And I mean, I guess this is us starting the review like now, but at the 15-minute mark. But why couldn't this dude die? Like I don't understand it. I'm still a little bit confused about it.
Yeah. I guess I'll kind of reference One Piece for this. So you know how in One Piece you have the hockey and they can harden.
Yeah.
Imagine something like this, where he's kind of trained like himself and his body or whatever to be able to do like all these physical things. And then that's kind of what she caught on to, is that he keeps saying that he wants to die and he doesn't want to be around anymore. But then she notices that like every time that he's about to die, that he like tenses up and he prepares for the hits so that they don't work. And because of his training and what he learned, he's able to like stop swords and all these things that they try to kill him with.
Well, yeah, but I understood like he couldn't get like burned, maybe because that's just like initial power that he can like summon this flame from within. But some of the stuff just doesn't make sense. Why blades wouldn't be able to cut him, or when they go to the island and somebody like sucker punches him with that giant ball, like doesn't really hurt him. So there is something to him, whether he drank the Kool-Aid or not, that he's unaware of. He has some kind of like supernatural like abilities. Like he might not know it, we might not know it. It might be in the manga, and it might be still like. Well, it might be a review later on, but there is something why this dude's like more special than the rest of them.
No, and for sure. And I was going to say that part of it towards the end, because I think it's towards the end where they give you a little bit more. I think it's eventually when he meets one of the Tenzin, like one of those, like, so one of the elite, like, gods that live on this island, that, you know, they're fighting. And then there's a point where because they're both at one single point time, she says, do you realize who you are, or do you know that you are this, or something about like basically telling him if he knows that he's something different. And so regardless, you're right, Carlos, like I feel like, you know, again, they describe his parents as just being shinobi who, like, once they had him, just wanted to leave because they had a baby. But what if he's not necessarily, or maybe, like, I don't know, there's a part of the story that it is perplexing, especially with the clan leader, how he's saying he got the elixir, right? So,
but
so I'm thinking,
Yeah, because like they're saying that it's possible that he never really got this elixir, and this whole idea that he's unable to die in reality was something that was done for the children to fool them into believing this, or growing up with the idea that, like, hey, when I was 5 years old, I saw the man get stabbed, I saw him cut open his stomach, his guts came out, didn't die. So I like that idea that they're playing with the fact that it could all be like some kind of like ninja trickery.
Illusion.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, that's how kind of the season ends. So we could definitely save that for later. But no, and it's even the whole idea of like, even if, like, a wild theory, even if the leader of the clan did have the elixir, right? Let's say that was the real thing. Like, maybe when he got it, like, he took Gabimaru from that island. Like, maybe Gabimaru, who knows? But yeah, there is something. There is something about Gabimaru.
Maybe that's why they killed his parents, because the parents were probably trying to take the kid with them.
Maybe. Either way, there's something mysterious about Gabimaru.
I like that theory because for one, I do believe that the master is like can live forever. Like, I don't doubt in my mind that he did drink from this elixir. So you could be right. He could have been a villager from that island, managed to take him when he was, well, I don't know, but yeah, like there could be something that we're just don't understand at this point. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, sorry.
No, but I will say that, like, but I do like the fact that they put the doubt in your brain about the village leader, and about the wife, and about like everything that he knows, is like, was it really real, or was it just an illusion, or it's what they made you
Spoiler
think
alert.
that was true or whatever. So like I love the fact that they put the doubt in there, because now you really don't know what's true, and who, because you I know this is kind of skipping ahead, but when he woke up, like the wife's face was blurred out, and then you kind of started seeing some scenes of like maybe she wasn't there, and then he also didn't recognize the people that he was there with, and then when Mai Mai or May May or whatever her name was, when she looked at him, she didn't see like the Tao part from hereof, which kind of makes you think that like something's disrupting the flow of Tao to his brain, which is
Yeah.
why he's not remembering or something.
I mean,
No,
and
you
for
know,
those, yeah.
yeah. No, I'm getting nervous because I'm like, we're 20 minutes in, and I don't think we've talked about the episodes at all.
But here,
We're talking about the story though.
But let me
Yeah,
let me bridge that, because yes, we did jump the gun a lot. For those of you guys listening, whether you watched already the anime or you're thinking about it, this is just a casual way of kind of knowing a
It's
little bit
fucking
about it.
great. Yeah.
But yeah, it's great. But yeah, but at the very end, they basically fights happen, things happen, and Gabimaru gets left with kind of a little bit of amnesia. But also, they implanted the idea of like he possibly made up, like, okay, so the wife that we're talking about, the clan leader's wife, that the clan leader's daughter that he married, that was forced to marry, that became his motivation throughout like this whole story. Like this whole season was him using his wife as his motivation. He unlocked a lot of that kind of awareness through Sagiri, what really helped him kind of figure that out, that he doesn't need to be hollow, that there is more to life than just being like violent or saying that you don't care about things. So his wife became the main reason for him to exist, to get the elixir, to get the pardon, to get the fuck back home. And then at the very end of the season,
he didn't die in the beginning as well.
And what he did in the beginning to the end. And I mean, in the beginning, and then at the end, they totally just leave you with this mind fuck of an idea that maybe it's all made up. And maybe it's kind of a genjutsu, and it's kind of some weird, idea, some inception that they put in there. So yes, we jumped a lot, but that is the craziest part of it all, because as we talk through this journey, I think a lot of the middle is the journey anyways, but clearly just knowing that he has that motivation, and that kind of becomes his like newfound power, because that's the balance between his like aggression and anger and violence and kill. I don't know, man. It's beautiful.
well, dude, now that you're like we're talking about it, and some of like my I'm trying to think about some of the things that maybe like some of the flaws that I was finding. Like for example, I guess the one thing that I found it very hard.
You don't have to focus on the flaws.
I had to say it, man, or else I would not be able to sleep. But I was gonna say like the idea that they were able to catch him, like 20 people, he was able to kill like 20 men, but they were able to capture him. Like I'm like, it's a little bit fucking ridiculous, because I've seen him fight. I see how powerful he is. He doesn't look like they have anybody that's equal to him during the process of when he was possibly caught. Or all these fucking serial killers. So like the idea that they were all caught at some point, I also kind of like find that to be like so fucking flawed. Or the idea that like for them to like escape them dying, they have to go through this whole process of going to like Hell's Paradise and get this fucking ridiculous thing and then come back. It's like, dude, like, no, you're fucking powerful. You can escape at any moment. Like, I don't know, it's just some of these things, like these characters are bigger than life. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, if you did not make these characters bigger than life, I would believe the fact that these guys could have been captured and could have been put to this impossible task. But just the fact that these characters are so fucking big, especially the one guy that you liked a lot that reminds you of Bakuto, like he's so fucking cool. Like he's fucking cool.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. So then, ultimately, I mean, that's just a beautiful part of this show.
Oh,
is that
the one with the brother.
The one with the brother.
Got it. I was like, I thought you were talking about Gabimaru was the one that was like
Bakugo's like twin in Hell's Paradise.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, like that's the beautiful part about this show is that, excuse me, it does focus on just the majority of the characters, right? It's not necessarily just about Gabimaru. Like, well, first of all, my just to get it out of the way, because I don't want to bring this up again, but it's like the most unfortunate part, or like the most like dissatisfying part for me in the season was just the unfortunate birthmark that the wife has. Because I mean, I'm not even gonna mention what it looks like, because if you guys are here listening to us, you know what her birthmark looks like. And I just think it's like, man, I'm an artist. It takes a while to draw things. There's a lot of time before you like even get to the point of drawing something. Then you can make a different decision, right? So the sad part about like the Gabimaru story is that he does hold on to dear life to the idea of him loving his wife. He realizes that he loves her more than he knows, that is his reason to live.
Yeah.
And poor wife has like an unfortunate birthmark in her face, and it just doesn't look good.
Well, I'm gonna say that I was one of those people that just didn't notice. But Ramon, when you said that, and I Google her name, and the first like 3 images that come up, it is freaking clear what you're hinting at. So if you're like thinking like, Ramon, I didn't see anything, like what are you talking about? Just look it up, and it will hit you, and it will slap you. It's like a semi coming at you with like
slap you in the face.
It's so obvious.
Which is funny because like that's probably one of the better stories in the beginning, right? It's like when he learns, or he doesn't learn it, when he tells her that, hey, birthmarks, like don't hide your like scar, don't hide your scar, because that's basically the dad scarred her because he didn't want him.
It was
like,
with the rod though, that's why it's that shape.
Yeah, of course. But the dad wanted her to remember her place, like she is a woman, and this show had a lot of that, right? Like, you're a woman, this is your place, which is so fucked up. But like Gabimaru from the beginning told her you shouldn't be ashamed of your scar, and force that you're beautiful and all this stuff. So like it's such a beautiful like tender moment gesture, he had, a gesture and moment that he has with his wife. And then the whole time I'm staring at it like, duh, what
Yeah.
why? Like, so anyways, but besides that, and then the show just starts becoming about everyone else too. Like, I love that about it. Like, I don't know if you guys want to do it this way. Go ahead.
But by the way, for reference, because I think you might have misunderstood. So the reason why he did it was because she is his daughter, so she's supposed to be a shinobi, and he did it so that no one would want to marry her because she has that scar.
I thought it was this idea of her like being a housewife. Like, if I make you ugly, then this dreams of you being a housewife like can never happen. To me, that's the way I took it.
Well, because, and then also he married her to Gabimaru, but I think that was more on the didn't want Gabimaru to leave. Like, he wanted to kind of own Gabimaru because he's like, well, now you're married to my
wanted to anchor him there.
Yeah, but at the same time, now that we know if it's real or not, so that's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, a good way of kind of like starting in a sense of more of the story is like, who's your favorite character out of this, aside from Gabimaru, if that is even your favorite character?
Well, I was gonna say, guys, we did it. We did the Hell's Paradise review. We're done.
That's it.
Let's go to sleep early. Finally, we do a whole review in 30 minutes. My dream came true.
It's been 30 minutes. Fail. We haven't talked about anything yet.
I haven't talked about anything. This is when people be like, we need a producer.
So I will say, like, I think it's really cool, like the thing that they do with the island, where
you gotta answer Ramon's question though. Ramon asked us something.
Well, we could talk island first, because the island's like the biggest part of the whole thing, I guess. So there you go. See, more structure.
Okay. So like they go through so there's a bunch of. Well, just to summarize a little bit, right before the island, which I thought was cool too, is that they have all these criminals that they're in front of the shogunate or whoever it is, I forget what it is, and then it's too many of them, and then they imply that they should all fight each other, so that there's only like 10 or 12 of them left, and then they start doing that, and just the fact of like how much more powerful some of them are than others was ridiculous, including Gabimaru, because everyone's talking, because they're all fighting and he's just not doing anything. He doesn't want to kill anyone. I kind of got a sense of Shikamaru, where the fact that he just what a drag to kill these people, kind of thing, and then he just goes off on the people that are joining him.
Bro, don't get lazy. We just used that analogy like last episode on Bleach. Come up with new references, bro.
There's way more Naruto references in here than Shikamaru. We don't need to talk about Shikamaru. But no, like, I mean, that was the first time you saw Gabimaru in action, right? Like, because we've seen flashbacks and like this decapitated head,
like ripping throats,
like he had hands tied. He's like ripping throats, running from side to side. And I mean, I fell in love with his fighting technique, man. Like, just the way that he fights is so amazing. Which is kind of funny because when they first get to the island, right, him and Sagiri, and like he's like untied, like wants to be untied, and she's like no, because she's a stickler for the freaking like rules. And it's funny
because breaks it. He doesn't even ask.
but then ultimately he like goes back and he's like, okay, if you want me to, I'll respect you. And it's funny because as they're meeting the other duos of the Asaemon and the criminals, like there's people who are like, hey, look at me, you know,
Yeah,
why is this so dumb? Why wouldn't we do it?
Dude, this is a crime. But I was trying to like, even though you guys didn't care, I was gonna tell you my favorite character, and it's the
I
one.
don't care.
And it's the one with like the train with the blind master. Like I like that guy a lot. And then
Yeah,
dude, I loved him. I thought he was super cool. He kind of reminded me of what's his name from Rogue One and then from John Wick, Donnie Yen.
Okay, well, I mean,
not the master, the blonde guy.
The blonde guy. I'm talking about the blonde guy.
Oh, with the headband with the X's on it.
Yeah. So for him, I saw like some secret potential, and I still feel like he could also still be alive. But he's somebody that
there's
like
no fucking way,
dude. No, because if you think about it, like her attacks didn't specifically cut you. It was more like she sent wind through your body that created like this blood.
Dude, it destroyed him on the inside.
I know. I'm wishful thinking right now. Like I'm hoping that
I get it. I would
be
too.
alive. But I was actually very impressed for a character that I did not expect much of him. I was actually expecting that little girl to like kill him on the boat ride when they were like trying to get out of the island. I'm like, oh well, she's clearly gonna like stab him in the back or betray him
because he's too soft.
He's dumb. Like he said that he's dumb. When she was trying to talk to him, and just like you gotta slow down. Like I'm dumb. Like explain it to me. I'm not gonna quit. And then because like that was a cute story too, right? He thought it was a dude, so he didn't think it any like different until later. He didn't think it anything different until like later. But no, like it's when she was trying to explain the why like she felt like she was a criminal even though she really hadn't done anything wrong. So fucked up, right? All she was doing was like out in the fields or whatever, and then a bunch of like poor. Other dudes, being poor in the mountains because they didn't want to be part of the feudal system. And you know, the dudes are like, hey, like where's your village or where's your grandpa? And she like accidentally, unknowingly leads the way for the basically the massacre of the whole village, except for her. And then she fucking becomes a criminal just because she abandoned the feudal system, like with the family abandoned the feudal system. But anyways, between her and Tenza or whatever the blonde guy hair is, like it was kind of cute, man. Like they were, I don't know the age difference there, but they were kind of falling for each other. Like she was definitely falling for him. She liked him.
That girl was like 8.
No.
So before you start chipping though, like she was like probably like 8, 10 years old. But I think that's why they had like, I even think that's why they had like the nude scene, just like even say the fact that like first of all, like I don't need it, but just the idea that like this is a child that you're looking at. Even looking at her naked doesn't give you the idea that she is a girl. Maybe she saw from underneath and maybe that's what gave it away. But I did like him. Like going back to him, I think the master clearly saw something in him. I was a little bit sad that even though he had like these great skills that he still could have learned, like master even more, he's kind of like done with. But that's who I kind of fell in love with. So I don't know.
He was fast. He was fast too. Like, oh my god, he chopped out those dudes like in so many pieces by the time he was done. So
that was my kind of like favorite character other than the main character. So I don't know if you guys have any. You guys want to talk about it now or just continue this? I
will say like that's another thing that I really liked about this is that like every character is like so well designed that each character is like distinguishable and they all make an impact. No matter how long they are. Like example, that one samurai with the eye patch, like. He has some like small moments, but they're big, like they're impactful, and you see kind of what his relationship is with the one girl, Sagiri.
Yeah, that's why I'm a little bit upset that if he did die, it's like, man, I felt like he was like, I don't know what rank he fell from the 12, if he was like number 3, 4, I think they might have said it, but
he was higher.
Yeah, like his name, I'm looking at him right now. It's like Asaemon.
No, it's Tenza.
Yamada Asaemon. That's the guy with the red eye patch with the red hair, right?
Oh, that other guy. Yeah. I don't remember his name.
Is that who you were talking about, Ru?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's that guy again. I was a little disappointed with a guy that's like hungry, feed me, like that. Managed to kill him.
Oh, dude, I know.
Yeah. I mean, my favorite guy. I mean, again, I really love Gabimaru, but that's the main character, and yeah, just really fanboy for him. But freaking the bigger dude, Senta, the studious, the one nerdy one with the glasses that was following the girl, the other ninja. I
Yeah.
think
he was
he was definitely
adorable.
he was definitely one of my favorites because, well, two things about him, right? I feel like he really did a lot for the show because, like, especially when they were finally breaking down what the island was about, what the systems were about. Like, he was the studious one. He had the records, like, even from the beginning, he had all the knowledge in his little journals. So I feel like he was the one that was trying to educate us as a viewer and also educate like the people around him. Like, he was just organized. He had it together. He was very bashful, right? Like he kind of also not necessarily had a crush on his ward, but at the same time, like he did kind of, right? Like at the end, he talks about it was her freedom and the way that she kind of like pursues life and thinks about life is what inspired him. So it wasn't necessarily like, oh, I love her and I'm attracted to her, but he's like, I'm attracted on her, like the way she is. And I really love that relationship he built with her. He was great. And even at the end, I like, he did have some awesome skills. Like I talked to some people about the show and they were like, oh my God, if you would read the manga, apparently he's like an extra badass. Like he is one of the very top ones. So it's all this stuff that I'm like, now that we saw this, like he, for you guys listening, and again, if you don't know by now, but like he sort of kind of dies and he kind of, or somewhat is poisoned with the flower powers, and then he's gonna die, and then ultimately they convince him that I guess it is the only way to go because there's no kind of coming back. And yeah, it kind of sucks because we really don't get to get more of him.
Dude, I thought
But he is a cool guy. Yeah.
I thought he was super useful because he had some of the information that assisted them with defeating the person that they were fighting at the time. And I kind of don't like the moment where it's like, hey, I have this potion. I can clearly say both of them, but the girl was being selfish. She's like,
Oh yeah.
I just can't give it all away. And it kind of reminded me of that moment where like they had to choose between saving Armin from Attack on
And
Titan
Arwen.
and Arwen, because it's like, who do you save? And clearly they should have saved the smart guy, even though the blind guy was like super useful and super strong. But I think this guy itself with the knowledge, he could have I think he would have been more useful. It's like saving the doctor versus saving the soldier. It's like, let's save the doctor. Though, like clearly the doctor could do a lot more than the soldier, even though the soldier, I guess, could help you live a little bit longer, possibly. But still, like I was a little bit even mad at the girl because she could have saved her. If she hadn't been so, hey, I gotta think about myself. Like she could have saved both of them, so that was a little bit upsetting with her.
How did you guys like you? What's her name? Yuzuriha.
I like the fact that she was there. Like I think I don't think that she's meant to be a likable character.
No.
But she's useful,
Yeah.
and I think she adds
like
to that dynamic. Yeah, because she's also a shinobi, but
Yeah.
she's a different kind where. And she's kind of like she has more of the personality of like of a hired person or whatever. So I like the fact that she was there, but yeah, she's not meant to be likable.
I feel like she's the eye candy of the show, like the one that even though you're not supposed to like, and she can fight, but it's just like when she's on screen, you do want to stare at every single one of her details just because it's like a ninja. And I'm always going to be like, hell yeah, like a ninja. Like, let me look at her and let me look at her skills. And she did that whole replacement. What is it? The replacement jutsu? That was really cool.
Substitution jutsu.
Yeah, it's super funny. Cool.
Yeah. I mean, I do like the dynamic that, like you said, Ro, like, I don't think she's meant to be liked, but also, like, you like her, but it's not necessarily like, oh, I love her. Like, she's not a serious character to me. I do like that the initial relationship and dynamic that she does have with Gabimaru, because they're both shinobi, different villages and everything and styles, but I mean, I guess their first interaction is the way that you do think about it, right? She was trying to seduce him, and he's just like, "No, dude, like back off." Like, back off.
I like that they every single chance. He's like, she's like on the ground for every single moment.
Like,
yeah.
And I feel like that's her the rest of the show, right? She's like kind of trying to force herself on us to be like, "Ooh, like me more. Like I'm cute, but also like I'm here to help. Let's be friends, but let me be the first one to run out of here." Like,
dude, I'm a fucking idiot because it took me so long to realize Fuki, and I'm gonna purposely like butcher his name, Fucky or Fuki.
oh my god!
It took me so long to realize that he was actually the bodyguard and he was in charge of like keeping an eye on that one guy that actually
the dragon guy.
The dragon guy. His name is Tamiya. Like I'm like, dude, like I didn't even realize it, and it could have been the fact like her outfit is a little bit different, or just her portrayal, like the portrayal of that character is a little bit different. that in no moment did I think she was supposed to be like bodyguarding. I thought they were like two criminals that managed to kill their bodyguards, and they were working together. So like it didn't. I didn't catch on to like the very end of the season. It's like, oh, dude, she's actually supposed to be like a bodyguard. So that was kind of interesting with that character. Not that I loved that person, but I did think like the whole time, like I just thought she was a criminal. Or he was a criminal. I don't know if it's a guy or a girl. I think it's a guy,
he.
right?
It's a he. It's a he.
It's a he. Okay.
I like that he's kind of weird, sadistic. I mean, he's a good guy. He's like following the rules also. But like the second that they're like fighting the other guys, the insect dudes,
He's like
right away he's like dissecting. He's all excited, and they were like, "What are you doing?" They're like, "Yeah, dissecting."
I just thought he was a criminal, man. Like the whole time, I'm like thinking this is this dude's like criminal buddy, and it's like nope, they ended up being like his bodyguard.
Yeah.
Well, he's wearing that outfit.
I didn't see it. Like no, that's what I'm saying. Like when I was looking at him, like I just like the colors of the outfit itself didn't like to me just didn't match up with what maybe because they were like his shoulder, like almost like a child's size. And then the fact that when you do see them together, it's not like he stands behind him. He's always like side to side next to him, which makes me feel like they're equals almost.
Yeah, that dragon guy was really cool. Like, I like his whole idea that literally he did nothing wrong, but he just really wanted to kind of be the dragon. And when that feudal lord that he worked with and he was cool with, right, because they already were working together, he made that stupid comment. It's like, oh, but a real dragon, or like you can't beat a real dragon, so to speak. And he's just like, fuck you. And then he slashes his dragon, like little wooden like entrance decoration and thing, and then that made him a criminal.
But then he wants to get out of the island just so he could go back and fuck over the house even more.
The whole mansion he wants to like freaking cut up. And he was cool too because he gave us one of the better scenes in the beginning because again, you get into this island and it's beautiful, right? And we know there's more to it because right away you saw the one guy they brought back from the island that had like flowers growing out of him and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. But it's like, he's the first one that realized that those bugs had like freaking faces on it, and he got bit, and without even thinking about it,
stingers,
freaking cut his hand off. And I know he was cool right off the bat because I'm like, dude, that was like no hesitation.
I know.
Cut your hand off.
I hated the fact that he lost a hand because I'm like, that's probably not that it's gonna make him weaker, but I mean, like, it's probably useful to hold a sword with two hands, especially the sword he has.
But he said at the end that it actually made him stronger because when he was fighting when they were fighting the two like bug masters, the ones that like work right below the Tenzen, he literally said it. He's like, yeah, I'm like, I should be mad, but if it wasn't for the bug, like if I didn't have one hand, like I wouldn't have mastered the sword as well. So I guess he got even stronger. But that's how cool he is that he was able to like master more with just one hand.
No, and I did enjoy like when Gabimaru and him like first saw each other, they could kind of tell each other's weaknesses. Like Gabimaru being so smart, he's like, "Oh, I can tell you're leaning a little bit more to your right. Is it because you're not used to like not having a left hand or left?" Yeah. So it was like that was kind of cool, them analyzing each other.
That's one thing I really love about the show, and we talked about it already. There's a lot of things to it. Like I love that it's like feudal Japan. That there's these like classes, that there's different people that are supposed to listen to other people. The criminals are kind of all over the place, but in reality, they all have their morals. There are different reasons why they do want the elixir and go back home. But I think even just that whole idea of like every interaction, and as you're meeting the characters, it's not just about one character, it's about their relationship with the other characters, right? Like how are they all getting along, like who's friends with who's going to be besties, like who's going to be like frenemies and all this stuff. And it's just like, I don't know, it reminds me of this weird like reality TV show of like it's like freaking the real world, like Hell's Paradise. But no, like I feel like a Survivor. There you go. Like I mean, obviously we talked about the brothers earlier, but the guy that looks like Bakugo, like Chobei and Toma, I think, is like they had a cool story too, right?
Super
because
cool.
They're kind of like orphaned from start, and most impressed by that when they freaking hit the area with the bandits, and the guy's about to cut him up and say like, well, let me show you what real men are about and what really being like you rich kids and something. And he goes to go cut him, and freaking the dude like cuts himself. Like,
that's the thing that I actually found very impressive, because when you see this character, you kind of assume that it's a character that's gonna be a hothead. Like he's just constantly gonna be hothead and want to go into like fighting without analyzing the situation. But it's actually the opposite. Like his brother has mass respects, not because of like how strong he is, just the fact of how quickly he can analyze a situation and react to it. And that's what I thought was freaking cool and makes him really dangerous. The idea that somebody can go into a room, look around, and without hesitation already knows how to act or what to do. Like, dude, super fucking awesome. Like, I like that because that was something that I wasn't expecting from that character specifically.
Dude, and that's kind of the difference between like the good animes and like the mediocre or bad animes is that like the good animes they keep having all these complex like characters, even the evil people. Like that's why like so many of the like the big animes work. Like in this one, in Bleach and Naruto and pretty much everything is like even the bad guys they're complex and they all have their reasons for doing what they're doing, and you can tell like for them this is like it's justifiable that they would want to do that, whether it's Madara or whether it's Aizen or whether it's I don't know, whoever it is.
No, absolutely. I think with him, what's cool because if you continue that thought process, right? He's not like necessarily an evil dude. He definitely cares about himself and his brother, and that's about it. And he seems a little bit more abrasive than most of the other characters that we met. Well, not really, because a lot of them dies that were assholes and stuff like that. But like, remember, like towards the end, like he basically was able to absorb the power of like not necessarily just Tao, but like he was able to absorb the power of the flowers. And then ultimately,
The
as we're
elixir,
seeing
yeah.
like that, and as we're seeing like the end of as we're progressing through the season, we're seeing him with those like, well, I'm gonna call them curse marks, but those marks that are growing in him, and as he's getting more like, I guess, more powerful, those are growing more and more. So remember how they had talked about like the big monsters in the beginning, were basically people who couldn't control like their power, their Tao. And so I'm
Yeah.
wondering if he's ultimately going to become like a monster of sorts, and then they're going to have to fight him, or his brother's going to have to fight him.
Well,
Like, I don't know.
well, something that this kind of reminded me of, dude, is with him specifically, is that he could potentially turn out to be the bad guy, like the one powerful dude that he's gonna have to fight, the main character.
Yeah.
Just because, like, I know you haven't seen Gabimaru. Like, I think you haven't seen One Punch Man, but in One Punch Man, it's similar situation, Ramon. There's a character, the hero hunter. He's hunting all these heroes because he wants to prove that he's like the superior being to them. Like he wants to be the ultimate monster, even though he's a human being. And you don't think from the beginning like this guy's gonna be like the one guy that can take on One Punch Man. But as I could tell you right now, because I read the whole manga, like dude, he goes head to head with One Punch Man, and it's because of this whole will that he wants to be stronger. He wants to be like the best. And I think that's the same thing with this
Like
character.
no one ever was.
Like no one ever was, and I'm seeing it. I'm seeing this character the way they're doing. Like he can absorb it, and he's turning himself like a little bit more like evil, or like his brother's like, or
Yeah. Yeah.
is he losing himself? Like I could totally see this guy becoming the one that even what are the main like evils people call the
Antagonist.
no
The
no no
villain.
no the
Or
in the show.
oh, the Tenzin.
Oh
The
my god, the
Tenzin.
Tencent. Like I could even see it like where you're thinking the Tencent's gonna be it, but then he comes in, he takes whatever liquid, and then him himself becomes like a Tencent, and then he becomes like the powerful one.
Yeah, I mean, I love that idea because he is so far, I think, the most formidable. Like, you think everyone is, right? But then Gabimaru just fucking destroys everybody, and he's just so good at it. Especially now that he finally understands Tao, right? Like, once he understands Tao, I just can't wait to see his next fight because he's going to be so much better. But yeah, it's like, dude, the one that looks like Bakugo, like, his thing is just like, even when he got, like, as he was getting hit, he was learning Tao, and he was understanding, like, how it worked. And in a couple hits, he got it down, man. Like that dude's like ruthless. So I totally agree with you because like as I was talking about him progressing into like perhaps a creature or a monster, you're right as to like with what Raul was saying is like he might become the bad guy, and that'll be freaking cool because again, so far he's the one that seems the most ruthless. And even though he has his brother, like, even like that scene when he looked like he was running and leaving his brother behind, but
Yeah.
he didn't. There's something to me that's going to tell me like maybe his brother will maybe have to make a tough decision and be the one that kills. I don't know. I just love where that story could potentially go because they are building that story up so much. So
I feel like he knows his brother so well that he can understand in a situation that his brother can handle, and I like that
yeah.
about that too. That you think
Oh
like, oh,
yeah.
this guy's gonna like. I don't think the character knows that his brother probably loves him more than anything else in this world. Like the whole reason why he's able to analyze these situations, able to cut himself, is because he's constantly protecting the brother. And I don't think the brother at this point is smart enough to realize, like, oh shit, like all this time my brother has been becoming stronger and more powerful and becoming so ruthless because this whole time he's been trying to protect me, trying to feed me, trying to get me to a level where I feel safe. And I feel like that's gonna be his downfall. Like if his brother dies, this guy's gonna go completely freaking nuts.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, and then the other thing that you realize with each fight is that like you realize why this group of criminals are the ones that are still alive because of like how good they are at fighting. You can tell their experience from fighting and killing and all that stuff because they are able to adapt. They are able to analyze their opponent. They are able to find their weaknesses and their strengths and avoid all the bad stuff. And you kind of realize the I guess the fighting intelligence that each one of them has, whether it's Gabimaru, whether it's the samurai people individually, or if it's the like any of the criminals.
No, dude, I kind of mentioned in the middle of the episode something happened that really like brought me back from feeling like the show was slowing down, man. And that's the episode where Gabimaru like leaves they we're at the point where they find this group, the little girl, and like he leaves by himself to try to see if he can find like where this elixir is at, and he ends up fighting one of the Tencent. And that fight was something I wasn't expecting. I didn't know how it was going to go down. Like everything about it exceeded my expectations, even when the Tencent transformed into its second form, which I was like, this is fucking cool. The idea that they become these evangelical like monsters is like fucking awesome. I love that, man. And I think that's when like this show again, it was like I thought he had already like slowed down, like, okay, nothing more can happen that it's gonna make me excited. But then that happened. It's like, oh my god, I wasn't expecting that, because normally they would save a fight like that for the end of the episode, but like they threw it like right in the middle, which was like perfect.
Yeah. I mean, I love that the Tencent can turn into that form. I don't love the way the forms look. Like, I don't think any of them are like they're crazy looking because, like I say, they're doing like the yin and the yang. You have like your white part, your black part. They're intermixed. It's beautiful. Like, but I that's the one thing that kind of threw me off is like they don't always look like perfectly great. But it's a crazy idea. I mean, we haven't touched on it, but the whole idea that whole yin and yang, the Tao, the way that it works, especially is the most obvious with the Tencent, and they're the ones that educate us while watching the show, right? Because you see why they're like changing from like female to male, and then you're like, what? But it's like, cool, it's all too. About exactly, because it's like, so I mean, and I still hate that it's like, oh, the women are the weak ones, but it's kind of they treat it as like, oh, one's the weak one, one's the strong one, and it's that balance of both. And then it just kind of continues to progress, but like even when they're like becoming the monster, and it's the same thing too, they're like intermixed, and it's that whole like, I don't know, I using the whole idea of Tao, and then that episode when they talk about the yin and yang and how really it works makes you want to not necessarily believe it because it's true, but like it makes you want to live that lifestyle, right? Like we're in an island when they're like taking beliefs of like Buddhist and Taoist and all these things. So you already have multiple religions kind of mixed in there, but then they give you just like the basic idea of yin and yang and that balance of weakness and strength. And it's just all of a sudden you're like, dude, I could do this. I can go fight anything right now because I know how it works.
No, I definitely didn't take it as like the male was stronger. To me, for anybody that's ever played maybe like a Spider-Man game where, you have the option of playing between like Spider-Man or his like Venom suit. Like with Spider-Man, you get more agility. You're able to do certain moves. With Venom, it's always like you're more of a heavy hitter and you're a little bit more like able to do more power with your moves. Like it's almost like one punch does twice as much damage. But sometimes you want to be Spider-Man because he's more agile. He can handle like more opponents at the same time. So like I felt like some of them are like saying specifically like I feel more comfortable being the male because for some reason I'm more attracted to it. But I do feel like it doesn't mean that the male could be the strongest one. I do think like it just depends on the person and which form they feel more comfortable with. Clearly, each one of them gives them like separate abilities, but I can totally see like the female being like just as equally strong as the male. Like nothing tells me that the male is superior at all.
No, and not necessarily like I didn't mean like that, but it's more because like anytime they would go to the female form, it would have stronger attacks. So it's kind of like you said, it's like it has to take not necessarily a weaker form, but it has to take a different form to be a stronger and different in a different level. And because they didn't mention that, how it's like, oh, like changing the ratio, I guess. But I mean, you can't deny it, the show does have a little bit of the sexism. And then I think it's apparent because with Sagiri, that's a whole freaking middle episodes. Everybody's telling her, go back home, go be a freaking housewife, like go back to your, like you belong as the, you know,
The-
successor of your dad, even though you can't be the
Go have
successor. Like it's
kids.
yeah, go have kids. And then it's just like, I mean, and again, just I guess the show pushes you a little bit in that, but it goes to show you what the strength of it
well,
is, you know.
well, we haven't really talked a lot about her too much, but I honestly, my take
Let's
from her
talk
was that
about her. Yeah.
she was the most powerful character in the whole show. Like to me, she's the one that has like these secret like inner power, and her abilities can become at the point once she's able to master them. But even Gabimaru tells her like the moment I met you, like I saw some strength that even could have or possibly did surpass his own. And he's the only one that was able to acknowledge it, and he's kind of scared of her, and I could see why. And I do feel like she could be like the one that you're kind of sleeping on, or not sleeping on, but I feel like she is going to surprise and be as equally as strong as him, or even surpass him a little, because she just has like these deadly blows.
Yeah. Because the thing about her, and kind of the thing that they addressed, which is why she's able to like be like, I guess, stronger in some ways, is the fact that like, yes, she's able to kill and she's able to like behead these people, but she also cares. So she doesn't like suppress all her feelings, which everybody else is trying to get her to do. But like she cares. She has these feelings. She doesn't want to do it, and then um something that Gabimaru said kind of like made her feel like, you know what, like all these feelings that I get when I try to kill someone, like she kept treating it as a weakness, but then it's actually like a strength of hers. Is like she, because she always wanted to like embody what she saw in her dad when he killed
Yes.
that one guy that was just telling the story that he didn't even know that
Yeah,
his
been
head got cut off
decapitated.
because he still finished the
Yeah.
story.
Yeah.
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 I mean,
Yeah.
she,
That, no, that's the sense that's exactly what I got from her. So go ahead, Ramon.
no, I mean, no, I agree with you. Like, I feel like she is probably the strongest one or one of the strongest one because of that reason. But I think that's what the show's trying to tell you because, I mean, that's her and Gabimaru's relationship. It's all about helping each other realize more of themselves and who they are and their potential. And so I think it's going to continue going that way, right? Like they're going to keep building each other up. But yeah, once you started fighting, you see that clearly. Like even the Tenzin thought that, oh my God, you're so like everybody again just putting her down, just thinking the least of her. But then once she starts fighting, like with all the crazy stuff that she did, and if it wasn't for her, they wouldn't have won that fight because clearly she was very pivotal to that fight too. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I do really love the part that I feel like this anime in particular is really not only giving you one or two characters, and at least in one season, we already had so much character development that I sometimes it takes like multiple seasons, even like in a show like Naruto and stuff like that. Like there's some like characters that specifically don't grow or they kind of just take turns going back and forth, but they don't really address their stories again till later. But this show literally just gave me a bunch of people and they're like, here, care about some of these, care about some of the other ones. One we're gonna kill right away, the other ones we're gonna build more up. And I think, you know, it's kind of like those who keep surviving, like Raul said earlier, it's like you see that not only they're the strongest, but they're also like mentally the most like developed, or just the ones that could really get the idea of Tao and they're going to use it to their advantage. So I like where it's going because clearly by the second season, everybody's going to have Tao at least mastered, or at least have it like, well, not mastered, but like have it down and know what it's about. Then we're going to be seeing these dudes who we already like having better abilities. And then, you know, new characters are going to bring in.
Yeah, no, like the only thing I want to say is like, dude, for the second season, like, why can't these shows similar to Jujutsu Kaisen do 24 episodes, man? Like, I don't want Chainsaw Man to come back for 12 episodes. I don't want this show to come back for 12 episodes. Like, they need to kind of like commit to like a 24 episode, or almost do like Bleach. Do the first whatever 12 episodes, knowing that in 6 months later you're dropping another 12, and then maybe take a break of a year and a half, however long you need to animate these shows. But like, dude, I can't. We're gonna be freaking like 50 years old, like talking about like, yeah, Hell's Paradise season 9, the final part 3 chapters.
I was gonna say this earlier, but yeah, like on the way home, I was listening to something, and they were talking about like Jujutsu Kaisen and this one, and they said they said this about Hell's Paradise, like the manga's like finished, is completed, but
Oh,
just like
really?
yeah, but it's like because it's so many chapters, so many volumes, at the rate that they're going with the animation, it's gonna be like 8 to 10 years before we get the whole story,
Because
and
I
then
thought because the
yeah.
manga, I thought the manga came out like in 2018. I gotta relook at it, but like,
Either way, they said the manga's done, but just the idea
okay,
of they put it into the time frame of like this, like shows that get
yeah,
released, ever how long they get released, how many episodes they
no,
have, and just the idea of like 8 to 10 years, man. I love this so
well,
much. I'm like, I don't want to fast forward for this anime, but I'm like, come on, can I just like click forward and click back and just, you know?
No, you're right. Because even like Demon Slayer's been done, and I think that one has maybe like 3. If maybe they want to push like 4 seasons left, maybe that they could do. Because I mean, we're just getting that arc, the training arc, and then there's definitely what's next. It's gonna have to like take like 2 to 3 seasons to like finish completely because it's fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Maybe a movie in between.
but dude, like if you think about it, like how many of these animes that are like huge right now, and that we're talking about, how many of them are they from Mappa?
Yeah.
Like they can't animate all of these all at the same time. Like it's gonna take time to do it in between because they took on Attack on Titan. They have Jujutsu Kaisen, they have Chainsaw Man, they have House of Paradise.
Yeah. No, they
Attack
they
on
must
Titan
have,
is done.
Villain Saga.
well, it's probably like one company, and like this is a team responsible for this. Like it's not.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's not the same people doing like the same.
Dude,
like
it's like, hold on, man. Hold on.
But it's the same studio. So like if you think about it, like it's not like it's not like
Japan.
20 people doing each anime. It's a small team probably doing each one because they can't dedicate more people because they have so many of them.
Dude, well, to my understanding, like Japanese culture, as far as like working in long hours, it's a little bit ridiculous, and that's from like hearing other people or seeing other interpretations. So you're like, right, these people do get to like work like probably like 6 in the morning to like 8 in the night, and maybe go home or maybe just fall asleep right in front of the building and then come to work the next day. It's freaking crazy how like artists.
Yeah, I've heard of that. That's a thing.
Yeah,
that people sleeping in the street.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Oh man. And we complain, lazy ass people we are.
I know. I changed jobs because I wanted to stop working when I left work.
All right. That was our little break to get our, what is it? The
Final thoughts.
No, not kind of like Naruto has our Tao, to get our Tao really in our abdominal area and start like really getting to that final level of form.
Because there was one thing that I wanted to talk about that I totally forgot. How beautiful is it that when the people don't die, but like when the Tenzen turn them into the flower people, how they basically just live in bliss. Like that's the rest of their existence. As fucked up as it is, they don't really die. They want to keep them alive because it's their like merging with the flowers and being in that state of bliss is what creates the elixir, or at least that. Like that's so beautiful. Like you know, but this show's so fucked up because that exactly is the same dark, like yin yang thing going on, right? You have someone that's like basically dead, but he's alive, but it's like their fake bliss matrix.
I mean, now you're bringing like,
it's like Naruto, what they wanted to do with the tree.
Oh, stop getting in my head.
I beat you to it.
I was gonna say
Infinite Tsukuyomi.
Naruto, yeah, like almost putting them in this like pod, and it's like, oh, they're living their perfect existence.
Or the thing from DC with Superman, and then with those things that like attached to the face and make him go into that illusion thing.
Yeah,
I like the star. Yeah, go ahead.
I like the Infinite Tsukuyomi reference because that's exactly what it is. But it's like, even when I was watching that, I felt perplexed, right? Because there is the idea of like, there's so much suffering in the world and so much crazy shit that's going on. What would be so bad about just living in your dreams and living in your ideal world the whole time? Besides,
in the Matrix,
you can't move, do it.
Stop it, bro! I'm gonna punch you. I'm gonna fucking punch you, bro. So
you gotta beat me to it, then. You gotta beat me to it.
So just like the Matrix, the Matrix failed one time because it was like they gave us the perfect world, and like we just refused it. We couldn't accept the fact that, you know, this utopia was created. So like, I think it was like the third Matrix, the one we're living in, because of the fact that it's like the first two just fail. But yeah, that was
that they're living in, Carlos. We're not currently in the Matrix.
Well, I know I'm not in the Matrix or in the freaking Infinite Tsukuyomi or in Hell's Paradise because I would not be working. I'm just saying, like, my job is not like, there's no way that I'm going to work every day in my like ideal life. Hell no. Not saying that it's bad. Because I don't even care if I offend anybody.
Well, I just gave up because Ro was clearly reading all my thoughts. So you, Ro, go take the show. Well, take us to the next scene.
What's the next scene?
Oh my god, I don't know. It's just we're talking about all the characters overall. Like
I don't know. They're all cool. The blind guy is awesome. kind of like
Oh
I
yeah, I
said,
mean,
he reminded Donnie Yen in the Rogue One with the Force, um, where he like
you,
sees everything because he's blind.
you can't
I
even
mean,
call him a cheater because he's blind, so it kind of sucks for him. But yeah, like he basically essentially can just sense everything, and it's cool that they don't even know that that's like Tao for the other people, but it's essentially what he's like. He calls it like the waves and other things, but
No, no,
I
yeah,
like
like
him.
I was looking at like the Tencent because like where I was thinking about them, just if there was one in particular that maybe I want to see fight. I think the one that just stood out from the beginning is the blonde one because his male form just looks like he is a total badass. But even the one that's meant to be the leader, I mean, he didn't really strike me as somebody that I'm like excited for. I mean, some of them are covering their faces with flowers, so I don't know if that's supposed to be meant as a reveal later on. But even that kind of interested me a little, just the fact that we're not being shown their faces right now.
well, what about the idea, or I mean, the fact in the show that they're like came out of one god, like or one
Oh yeah,
godlike
I thought that was
person?
cool.
So is that something we still see, or he's just dispersed into seven and that's it? There's no more like one, because that's kind of cool too. It's just the whole idea that there could be another one or more because they're not gods. I mean, that's another thing about this whole show, right? It's the fake a paradise is not really like heaven, but it's a whole island makes you think that it is kind of like heaven, right? You have these like idols and like statues that look like Buddhist or Taoist like gods, but they're not. They're just like creatures and monsters. And then you have these like ultimate beings that are like immortal, but it's like, are they really? Because one already died. So it's just the whole idea that they're not gods; they're faking it. It's like a fake paradise.
Yeah.
So maybe you guys can explain this to me. So were there people on this island that made all those statues and stuff like that, and then the Tenzin killed them, or I don't know. I kind of got confused with that whole part of because I know that they talked about it at one point, but then it still didn't really clarify who those people were and if they were really humans and what happened to them and where the Tenzin came from.
I mean, from my understanding, is just bits and pieces of the story that we got, but it was like all happened over 1,000 years ago, and it did seem like there was like groups of people living there, and that's where like May came from, like at least one of those villages. But it also seems like these Tencent, I think, yeah, I don't know if they came to the island or it's someone that gained power in the island, and then once they gained like ultimate power, then they divided into like the seven forms, and then now they're playing gods basically in this island. But other than that, like I don't think the show's told you more unless you know
Yeah.
any more, Carlos. Yeah, I think that's
No,
like
there.
most of the gist.
Yeah, I know that's most what I got. I mean, possibly there's still like a lot of secret stuff going into it. Like even, like I kind of want an explanation of the people that are even coming to the island. You guys kind of like talked about them, but we're led to believe they're like you don't want them to come to the island because they're competitors. Are they part of that girl's clan, the one that can oil herself up? Is that who's coming to the island?
Oh,
Oh
like at the very
no, I think it's
end.
Gabimaru's clan.
Oh, is it? It's a Gabimaro's clan that's coming to the island?
Yeah, I think
Mhm.
so. Or or,
Okay,
or, or
then.
just those type of people.
Yeah,
Maybe
I mean,
I just thought it was more criminals because they did say like the feudal lords had mentioned that and if we like run out of people like we're gonna send more criminals. Like the whole point is that they want that elixir bad. So I'm thinking that next season we're just gonna get another wave of like Asaemon and
I,
criminals, and we're gonna add more characters to this whole thing.
Yeah, like I was thinking it was like part of Yusurika's like clan that was coming to the island, and I mean that kind of would explain like we probably could get more about her because even she said that like she wasn't like the most talented one, right? She was just somebody that
No.
was poor, needed medicine for her sister, so then she joined this clan, and then she had some skill which clearly made her like be successful in this career as an assassin, but. I think she mentioned she's not even like somebody that was trained from like as almost like Gabimaru, like he was trained from like being bird, like hey, you're born now, you're gonna become an assassin.
Yeah, and you just reminded me another thing we haven't talked about, and again, obviously we're towards the end. So, what do you guys think of Gabimaru's like jutsu, like the fire jutsu? Because that was pretty cool too. Like, I just no one. I mean, I guess the girl has that slippery slime thing that she does.
Yeah,
But I don't know. It was just it's a cool thing. I love the idea that it's very like similar to Naruto's shinobi like a lot of the terms are the same. It's kind of just right off the back. It's very, very similar. You have your genjutsu, your jutsus, and all this stuff, ninjutsus, and it's beautiful. But like just seeing his like flame powers was like great. this ability to just kind of like, I don't know if he does it through his oils in his body, like that he ignites. But you know, especially when he starts doing some like freaking fireballs, so cool. Didn't
Yeah,
expect that.
I think I need to see more of it to be really impressed by it. For right now, it just seems like he can kind of like turn up the heat, and clearly that's what he does when he like burns that Tengen to flames. But kind of want to see more of it. They need to like put it up in the front and not hide it. They just need to like light him on fire or have him like do whatever he's doing and have a really good fighting moment with him where he's just moving around and lighting shit on fire as he's like fighting.
We need a fight that's like a whole episode long. Just
Yeah, dude, it kind of makes me want to see like a dark Naruto like episode or series or miniseries or something with like with fucked up shit happening like for real with like blood splattering and all that stuff.
That's what I was saying. Like Naruto should have done a little bit for a little while. Is something like this because Gabimaru is like not necessarily. Obviously, he's not similar like Naruto because it's completely different upbringing and stuff. But it's just the idea that you can have a character that you love because of its story or the way he is, his personality, or the reason why the reason why he's fighting. Like you just you agree with him. Like, but then to have it be like violent and then also at the same time teaching you stuff and kind of teaching you about yourself and how there is supposed to be a balance and you can be fucked up, not necessarily fucked up, it's a bad word, but like you can be like bad in any way or another, or you can have weaknesses, but it's those weaknesses that make you stronger or those things that are ugly that make you prettier. And I don't just again that is beautiful, but it's dark
or make it okay to be vulnerable.
Yes, exactly.
I think with Naruto though, man, not that it pulls the rug under you, but because Naruto gets so far, and that's what makes it almost like such a brilliant and great show that like I still have memorized in my head completely, because of the fact that when you start the show, it's like, oh, these are going to be ninjas that are taking on low class missions, and maybe some of those missions are going to escalate pretty quick, or some of these missions are going to be dangerous and all. And then I think after like the first like 20 episodes, 25 episodes, they completely drop that, and then all of a sudden it becomes about like giant toads and Naruto turned into like a fox, even though the fox was clearly like put in the first episode. But it's like Naruto did become like bigger than what it was meant to be. And it's when I first started watching it, I'm like, I would never thought this show would have gone this fucking crazy. And it did. Yeah.
No, but it's a great show, man. I'm excited to see what the next season's about whenever we get that. It's definitely on the top of my list. I feel like even just the season alone gave you enough to just kind of be into it. It's just that waiting game that we got to do now. But
oh my god! Imagine a period where that and Chainsaw Man are hopefully like airing at the same time, almost so that we could do like what we're doing with Bleach and Jujutsu Kaisen. But yeah, man, it's great to know that like in the near future, like we're always gonna have something to talk about because clearly we're excited about this show. Demon Slayer's still going on. We got Jujutsu Kaisen, Chainsaw Man, Bleach. It's just like again, I'll keep saying it, till I get sick of saying it. But like we live in a golden age of anime right now. Seriously, yeah.
It's a good time to be an anime fan.
Oh, absolutely, man. I mean, like, think of all the generations that are like, like I myself, like this show, I think will become popular because the moment you start making figures and me and Ramon can start buying them, it's like, they're going to be like, oh, well, we got to keep this bad boy making more episodes because people are buying their merchandise and stuff like that. And I could see it getting to be a popular show just as Jujutsu Kaisen or Attack on Titan for sure.
Well, absolutely. I mean, it has the story, it has the complexity, and it has like good fighting. I mean,
because even like the whole like killing.
The only thing that's missing is more episodes.
That's a whole lot more episodes.
But I mean, like, like the whole idea that any character can die at any moment. Hopefully, they continue to play around with that, and maybe we'll even. Good. I think for a moment I was thinking Gabimaru was gonna die, and I thought if that would have happened, like maybe it would have been too early on in this season for it to happen. But I was thinking, oh my god, if Gabimaru dies and then the show gets taken over by the girl, like. Masterpiece. Like I would have given this show like 10 out of 10. Just the idea, like like your
of course.
Yeah, your expectation. Almost like when Eren gets eaten and you're like, wait, isn't Eren the guy I'm following? Yeah.
No, absolutely. But I mean, it's just one of those things that I'm like, I'm already so attached to Gabimaru. And it's just kind of like, I'm like, don't do anything to him. Just leave him alone for a little while. But I don't know. It's that development, man. I'm just excited to see, like you said, who's going to die, who's not going to die, who else are they going to bring, how are they going to die? Because there was some deaths we didn't talk about, but like there was like that, well, with the blind samurai, the Asaemon like the girl, his ward, was trying to seduce him and trying to have sex with him, and dude is just like, nope, and then kills her that way, you know.
Which I thought like he totally did. I thought I'm like, the way they made it seem initially is that
He
he
did.
totally went for it, and I thought she had killed him.
Yeah,
Yes.
in the beginning it was really fun to kind of play with the idea of like who did die, who didn't die, and especially like the guy with the eye patch. Like I didn't expect him to die just like that, like being backhanded or smashed or whatever it was. But like even that was just really graphic in the beginning to be like, holy crap! Okay, so we're killing people just like that. Just I mean, I know we already seen a lot of deaths, but like these guys you're killing just like that. Like that's crazy.
Dude, and like I mean, I was telling you about like killing Gabimaru right away, but it's like, dude, like think about like why we love Gurren Lagann. Like I think one of the reasons, except for Raoul, I think one of the reasons why we love him is because you never think Kamina's gonna die. Spoilers for Gurren Lagann. Hopefully people have seen it, but you don't think Kamina's gonna die in episode 7, and then you're left with Simon, and you're like, fuck, well, I was here for Kamina, but then all of a sudden, like Simon, they give him the development, and it's like he became Kamina on his own, like as he grew up older, and it became even just as cool. But it's like those expectations, man. Like I do love when shows do that, and this show clearly did it because a lot of characters died that I didn't think were gonna die, and some of them already had fallen like attached to. So it's like, fuck, man, like stop introducing cool characters. You're just gonna kill them on the next episode.
I know. I just keep thinking.
I'll try to rewatch Gurren Lagann, by the way. Maybe I changed my
mind. Do it. It's easy. It's quick. It's beautiful.
If you want to traumatize your kid, just do it.
Spiral stuff.
That's what makes it cool, man.
Oh my god! But the time no, you got to finish it in order to understand what the whole spiral. But then maybe you were in the right mindset. Rewatch it again and just think of like how they're talking about Tao and Yin and Yang. Like spiral is just the power spiral, life, dude. Life.
It just didn't make sense to me.
I mean, I posted if you're not on our Discord channel, like get on our Discord. If you even have aware of what Discord is, or you have it, like go into our channel. But I posted that meme about like the villain 500 years of training, and then like the one character that fights him beats him with the power of like friendship memories, and that's kind of what Gurren Lagann is. It's like the characters like can summon the strain because of the power of friendship and the will of I believe in myself, and it's the perfect interpretation of what it means to like believe in yourself.
Yup, exactly.
Or believe in the me that believes in you.
Like believe in the me that believes in you. Well, that's what this show's about too. Between freaking Gabimaru and
I used that today, by the way, with a friend of mine.
Oh god. Well, this was a long episode, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys are having fun with us. If not, give us something in the comment. You guys are trash, but I think you guys are listening. I think you guys are loving us. Just admit it to yourself.
Just kidding, but we do absolutely appreciate everybody, and great conversations with some of you guys. Everybody that listens to us, thank you so much for spending that time. We don't even like for likes and follows and subscribes, but if you heard it, then do it. Wink, wink.
No, yeah, definitely. Like we love our fans, and the more like people are like, "Hey, actually listen to it," it's like, dude, like you understand now that you're telling me that, like I'm gonna like follow you and always want to hear from you because of the idea that it's like you're actually listening to us. I always love to like see comments or get feedback from people. That's like one of the things that makes us really happy right now. Like Ramon, you're always like, did you see somebody like commented? And it's like, dude, hell yeah, like I already replied like 5 times to them.
I mean, and I also already have the people in real life that I have to deal with, people bitching me out for things that you say or I say. I'm like, oh no. So feel free to do that online too. Absolutely.
It's all about Ro with his dog, his hate for dogs.
Dude, the Discord, I was like, what the hell are you guys talking about? Like, okay, I guess I'll prematurely hate whoever it is. And then you guys post a picture of a stupid dog. Like, really?
See, stupid dog. Keyword. You said stupid. You don't like dogs.
It was stupid.
Have you seen the episode?
Got killed. Yeah, I saw.
No, he didn't get the guy killed. That was him having a flashback moment.
That was a flashback. It was his friend, man. It's like me and
I'm
Sophie.
still blaming the dog.
Me and Shadow. You don't have a dog, so you don't understand it.
True.
All right, that was
one day I'll have a dog.
Yeah, okay. All right, well, if your dog is missing during around Raul's neighborhood, who's going to go ask for. All right, man. Well, I'll talk to you guys soon. Have a good night.
Peace.
Bye.